Good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Today is what's today? Wednesday, Matt.
It's Wednesday.
I've lost track of days already, but awesome. Welcome, everybody. I'm Chris Russell from RecTech Media, and this is RecTech Live, where we help inform the modern recruiter about new tools and tactics for the hiring process. Today, we're going to educate you on an interesting topic, which I thought was great, that our buddy here, Matt, wrote about, which is the use of social media hashtags as it relates to recruiting. My guest today is Matt Lozar from Haley Marketing. Say hello, Matt.
Chris, hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
Coming to us live from what town?
We're just outside of Buffalo. We're in the Midwest today. Not a good day to wake up to the weather.
Yeah, I heard there was like snow in Indiana, I guess. It's coming.
Yeah, it'll be gone by tomorrow.
But last gasp of winter there. All right, let's get to shout outs here. So we've got a number of people live on the call. Let's see here. Hannah, Vanessa Watson, feel free to say hello. Our returning champion, Bradley Cooper, is here. The recruiter, not the actor. Good to see you, Bradley. Aaron, Adriana, Angelo Pancho. Hey, Angelo, how's it going? Hope you heard your podcast replay there. Michael Iniers here from Resume Civ. Hey, Michael. Lori, Jonathan, Raul Ray's here from Employee Diversity. Ray Robertson, Grace, Ray DeBoltz, and Laura. So thank you all for joining, everyone. Feel free to network with each other, throw your LinkedIn's in the chat room there, and we'll connect with each other. Let's see here. So just a quick show note for next week. I'll be doing another demo day with a hiring platform called Chatter, CHATTR. And it's made for high volume hourly workers out there. So if you do recruit in that arena, I'd love for you to come and check it out. We'll have their CEO, Jim Shrimp, on the call, and he'll walk us through a demo of that and show you everything you need to know about the product and tool and see if you like it or not. So go to rectechlive.com, sign up for that, or just visit us on Crowdcast. The RecTech Live URL actually just forwards to Crowdcast, by the way, so you can use that as a quick shortcut. All right, here. Let's see. So why would you want to use hashtags? Well, in short, they make your job posts more discoverable and content more discoverable across the major social media channels. All the channels will let you use them: LinkedIn, Indeed, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And so, and there's various ways to use them across those platforms as well. So we'll bring on Matt now. We'll get right into this topic. Matt, why don't you first define what a hashtag is, if you could?
Sure. Let's share our screen here. So we're just trying to share quickly in the chat. Saw some good chatter back and forth. Social media. Let's see here. Hashtags, what works in candidate recruitment. Been writing some content here at Haley Marketing to where we focus on recruitment marketing a lot. We're at Haley Marketing, we're focused on the staffing industry, but this stuff works in any industry. And really the definition of a hashtag is, think of a pound sign on your telephone, where even if you're leaving messages now, I feel like that's changed from just saying pound sign to pound sign or hashtag, probably to reach a younger demographic, might not know what the pound sign is, but it's something followed by a word or phrase. And when you click on it, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, they're really big as well. You can see all the posts that have that word included in their content, and it can be a really effective way to see content in a number of different ways. Doesn't have to just be recruiting. Like I was looking before here, today's Admin Professionals Day. I think there's a trending topic for simply that, just hashtag Admin Professionals Day, where I'm sure companies are recognizing, their admin teams across, different companies across the country and just showcasing them. And I'm sure it'd be a great way to see some really good content, but it's a great way to see content, in your everyday life. And then we use those trends and bring them over here to recruiting and whatnot.
The pound sign is having its day, man.
All
these special characters are now, right? Because you've got these passwords and the @ sign, right?
I'm a big fan of exclamation points in my passwords.
Me too, right? I use that a lot. My passwords. Don't tell anybody, but
yeah, seriously. But I think it's important here. We'll get into it. Why the hashtags can really help us is our data, Haley Marketing, and everybody's seeing it. Cost per application is going up. We work a lot in manufacturing in production with our clients and staffing, but I'm even talking to a lot of direct hire companies right now. Just got off a call with somebody in California and they're like, why aren't people applying for jobs? And I'm like, I wish I had a great answer. Stimulus money and whatnot's one of them. I think it's also still uncertainty, and people don't want to, if it's a relocation or they really want to focus on work for home, remote jobs, whatnot. But the data is showing us costs are going up because there's a lot more job offerings. Their search trends on Google are down for jobs. They're lower now than they were at the bottom of the pandemic last year, back in March, which is kind of crazy to say out loud. But if it's lower now than March 2020, that means we have a supply and demand issue. But I think this can help us. Yep. We can use hashtags to our advantage to find active candidates on social.
Yeah, it's one of the ways you can maximize the effectiveness of your posts on social media. If you're not doing that, then you're losing out on traffic and views and engagement on these things.
So I think a great way, we'll go into some examples here in a little bit, but how to get started. There's a number of different tips we had in the blog posts, and you can use ones that are already common. I'll share some examples in the next screens, but if, jobs, searching for work, if you want to get your posts found, now hiring, all those different areas. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel here, but you can jump into conversations of people that are talking. And I think the next step is it's really important to be careful. You might think a hashtag's really useful, but just do some research on it before you put it into your posts. There might be something just controversial you get caught up in, that you don't want your content surrounded by.
Right.
Be professional. And I think that, you don't want to get too loose with your different hashtags and whatnot. And less is more in my thinking. There's some practices maybe on Instagram, or if you load in 30, 40 different hashtags into a comment, that helps. But if you're posting something on Facebook or LinkedIn, it's not going to receive engagement if you put your couple of sentences of content and all of a sudden have a list of 30 different hashtags. I don't think the algorithm's going to like that, one. And two, I don't think people are going to engage with it just because it looks spammy.
Yeah.
So from a company perspective, and we can dig in here a little bit more, I think there's a number of different ways you can look at this from your company perspective. Obviously, that first part of, you have a job opening or now hiring. I'm actually hiring for someone in a programmatic space right now. And I put some of those hashtags in there the other day. I think it was programmatic openings or job advertisement, because literally what I did was I went over to LinkedIn and I typed in a hashtag and used what populated. It's similar to when we go to Google. If you type in, Google autofills for us a lot because it's a common query, it's a common question. And LinkedIn and Facebook's going to show you hashtags that are common in usage of people on the platform. They're not going to recognize hashtags that are a lot or unpopular and just aren't getting a lot of traffic. So I think there's a number of different ways you can add them in here. This first one, if you have a job opening, if you're now hiring, etc., you can put information about your industry. Obviously healthcare, you want your candidates to search for those if you're looking for a registered nurse or a medical assistant. But if you're looking for, a store assistant or someone in the retail space, those different hashtags are different because people will go to Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and have them saved in their profiles and see the new content that gets populated every day for those different hashtags. So you want to reach the right people with your postings.
Yep.
You can dig in more on some, what type of company are you? If you're small business, startup, Fortune 100, people want to work for different types of companies. So you can start to showcase a little bit of your culture with the content. If it's a job posting, or like where I talk about, employee story or community involvement, if your team's out there doing a lot of social responsibility, or if it's a company that really focuses on being environmentally friendly, some candidates want that, some candidates don't. So if you have that information in the posting, you're able to start to showcase your employer brand. And a big part of employer branding from my perspective is it's okay not to be connecting with every candidate because not every candidate's right for you. So you can start to showcase that through there. And then a couple of other ones, I think, the bottom one, if it's location specific, we're up in Buffalo. So Buffalo jobs, if it's Chicago, if it's Los Angeles, Florida, I'm sure there's different regions as well. The DMV area, right down in Maryland, DC, Virginia.
Yeah, I use CT Jobs when I'm doing Connecticut stuff.
Sure. I know there's an EB Jobs one for employer branding, I think.
Mhm.
So, and it's a lot of trial and testing to see what works, but also if you're non-job posts, if it's office events, if it's birthdays, if it's, if a company's finally getting back in the office, like we haven't been back in the office since March 13th, 2020. We gathered outside a little bit, but just when we get back to the office, some content around that at Haley Marketing to showcase that we're finally getting back together as a team.
Yep. We've got before you go on from Matt, we got a question, which I thought was a great question, which I'll answer. Maybe you can add into this. But Jonathan asks, do social platforms have restrictions on the number of hashtags, or do they penalize for too many? So great question, Jonathan. Here's what I know. Matt, you back me up on this. On Twitter, you're limited in terms of your characters there, so you have to limit kind of the numbers on Twitter. When I kind of do a Twitter job posts, I'll usually do no more than like 3 hashtags on there overall. Instagram, however, that's where kind of the hashtag really one of the places where it's really grown a lot. And I've heard, Matt, that the ideal number of hashtags for an Instagram post is around 30.
Yeah.
And that gives you kind of there's a big wide range there, right? I think on the other platforms, Facebook and LinkedIn, maybe, I don't know, it's in 5 to 10, I guess would be roughly ideal. We don't want to go crazy with the hashtags and make it more text than the actual post is, but just use your judgment, pick the most popular ones first, and then kind of go from there in terms of what else you might need to add.
Yeah, I try to find a balance. I think those numbers were good, Chris. Obviously, Twitter has a character restriction. So
Right.
if you just want to put hashtags, you can just put hashtags. Instagram is a world that's just really different. To me, that signals users on Instagram are searching a lot of hashtags.
Yeah, that's how they search the platforms, through hashtags mainly.
Yeah. So if you need to get in it, a lot of times some people won't put it in the actual post on Instagram. They'll put it in the first comment so it doesn't clog up what you're actually trying to say.
Great tip.
So it's, you could say, hey, now hiring, or even, employee anniversaries for April 2021, thanks to our team. And then in the next one, put all of those different hashtags in there. And I think Facebook, LinkedIn, your numbers were really spot on, 5 to 10, with a good balance of, more general ones and maybe some more specific ones too. And honestly, Jonathan, I don't know if they're going to penalize you. They might not show your content on Facebook, LinkedIn if you're spamming it with 20, 30 different hashtags. Testing's always good to see what works well. And I think just not overflowing it, as Chris said, with hashtags helps us here, because you don't want that to be the main content of your post. Yeah. You want that copy to be important, and hopefully use hashtags at the bottom when someone's searching to help you bump up those results.
You mentioned testing, man. I think that's a good thing to do. So like 24 hours after your post, Jonathan, go look and see how many, views it got on LinkedIn, right? And then check on Facebook and things like that. Check the impressions there. That'll give you an idea of, and as you go on over time, you can then see which, how you're doing as far as the engagement goes around there. So pay attention to those numbers.
Yep.
After you post, and that'll help you gauge what to use in the future.
And it changes all the time.
Yeah.
It's the answer on April 21st might not be the answer on June 21st. So it's the algorithms are a moving target.
Fool us.
So these hashtags, I think, help from a company perspective. The next slide we're going to talk about from a job seeker's perspective. And I think this really speaks now to not a lot of job seeker activity. So we need to go out and I don't know if it's sourcing per se, but go out and recruit and try to find the people that, literally have these hashtags in their job, in their postings. If it's LinkedIn, if it's in their profile on Facebook or LinkedIn, if it's in content they're posting. These are the people that are ready to go back to work, that might be been laid off recently, or just their unemployment's ending, or just maybe they're student, like literally here in Western New York, we are going back to school next week, 5 days full time. So I'm sure there'll be some families that can, go back to the workplace a little bit more than they could when their school was hybrid for 2 days a week. Everybody's schedule is slowly getting back to normal. So if you can search from these perspectives, it can work really well. And it's not going to be the same in every market. It's not going to be the same in Buffalo to Chicago to Seattle to Massachusetts, just like different tactics work well in different markets. Different job boards work differently in all these different markets. So do some searches in your area to see what's popping up for candidates with with these hashtags?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter now. I just typed in hashtag need work. Looks like some employers are using it to attract to their jobs. Got a couple employers here. There's some articles that talk about work, about job hunting, but seeing a lot of yeah, you can. So it's a great sourcing tactic, I think. Like, look for these hashtags as a sourcing activity and see who you can find out there. You never know. There's a big story here in the Connecticut Post today about restaurants are having trouble hiring. They just can't find enough workers right now, and they're worried about the reopening and are they going to have enough staff to actually fill demand? So it's getting pretty interesting around that stuff.
It's a great way to join the conversation, like you were saying, Chris, on Twitter. If someone has that in their profile or in a post that they've recently published, reach out to them and say, hey, these are some offerings we have, or would love to talk to you. Give us a call, or here's my email address at work. And the Facebook, similar, you can tag people in posts. That happens a lot on job postings, or maybe send them a Facebook message and say, hey, I saw you were looking for a new job. Or are you just ready to re-enter the workforce? We have some great opportunities. Would love to chat. Here's the time.
Yeah, I just threw a tweet in the chat there I'll give a shout out to Murphy Good Winery. Looking for a fresh office? Good. We're hiring, it says. Apply now at murphygoodwinery.com. I got a link there. The hashtags are a really good job. And the good is part of their name. So GOODE. Good life with that. Good times guaranteed. Hashtag new job opportunity. Hashtag dream job. Hashtag pursuit of happiness. Hashtag career goals. Need work. Wine contest. Hashtag contest alert. Hashtag new beginning. So they got a nice picture there. So shout out to Murphy Good Winery.
And they do a good job of balancing, because if you have good job, GOODEJOB, great for their employer brand, might not be great for someone searching. So they balance that with their company specific hashtags, but also some more of the traditional ones that are popular. Because if I'm looking for a job, I'm probably not, unless I'm really specifically looking to work with that company, I'm not going to search for that content. I see Angelo also shared one that's a really great tip. I think the ONO, open to new opportunities, or open to work. Look for those locally and make sure they're the right content and jump in those conversations.
Yeah, you've seen those LinkedIn photo frames now with the open to work on for some people there. I'm assuming that's searchable there on the platform. If we actually search open to work hashtag, let me just see what we get here. I love searching content on LinkedIn. It's such a rabbit hole sometimes.
Yes, you can go down rabbit holes when you search hashtags, for sure.
Yeah, there's all kinds of, and it's global too, right? There's people from all over the world using it. Hashtag open to work. So it is a little bit hard to sift through some of that. But then you got to add more keywords to your search from there, I guess.
Yeah, you try some different filters. I think Facebook's pretty good at that, where you can just search geographic markets, or might just have to go through those different posts you have and make sure you're finding people that you're in your market.
Yep. Grace has a tip. Tools such as Hashtagify have free features and are helpful in assessing popularity and demos of hashtags you wanted to use. Hashtagify, you ever use that?
I haven't. We've used RightTag, RITETAG. Probably pretty similar in terms of what's popular in markets, being able to find that information. I'm sure there's a number of different tools that have free features, and if you want paid subscriptions, they obviously give you some more bells and whistles. But those are areas that, do some research. It helps with that. That helps with the testing, because that data is available and out there. We just have to know what to do with it, and leveraging those free tools can really help us to find what's popular, since it's constantly changing.
Yep. All right, what's next?
Yeah, I think for me, just kind of wrapping up, that was kind of the layout of the blog post here. But what should you do? Search Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Use some third-party tools. Use the autocomplete on those different platforms that show us what's popular. See what's trending. See what's working. It's going to be different in your local industry, in your local geographic market. Don't be afraid to jump in that conversation, to do some different testing. I loved your tip, Chris, about to post content, try some hashtags, log back in 24 hours later and see what happened. If you had impressions, if you had clicks, if you had engagement, and then use that data to help you make better decisions. And we didn't dig into it too much, but if you're going to have a company specific one, have a good plan to, it can work really well. And you can own that hashtag, like that example Chris shared in the chat of Murphy Good Wine. I don't think anyone else is posting or outside of that company or an employee with the company, good wine or good job or some good career, GOODE career. So it's a way to really own that hashtag to show to people in your company, whether it's, your current team or maybe some higher level decision makers of what you're doing on social, just to showcase them and say, hey, this is a hashtag we've created. It showcases our culture. It has some job postings. This is the ROI we're getting from it in terms of impressions and clicks and whatnot. So if you have a company plan or specific hashtags, have a good plan and post content to it. Try to get the team to use it and, see how it's working and constantly tweak and adjust.
Yep. Very cool. That's it for your slides, right, Matt?
That's all I had.
All right, cool. Let's close that. You can close that out. Let's just wrap up here. I do want to ask the group. I want to talk a little about company career specific hashtags. So if your company has your own hashtag you use, throw it in the chat there. I know, Angelo, you have something at Rockwell, don't you? For Rockwell Automation, in terms of just your careers hashtags or your main careers hashtag you're using to talk about life at the company. Life at Rock. Okay. So a lot of companies use life at or, careers at, or your company name careers as the main hashtags. Monica says SASR, retail staffing. Aaron says Vanderhound recruits, Vanderfam. Okay. Family. Very cool. Matt, you have any tips around how to create one of those or, pick one? Or
I would think step one is, if you're thinking of something, do some research on it first before you dig in to make sure someone hasn't claimed it or is using it.
Yeah.
It's because if someone already has really good content around it, do you want to be in that search results as well? I would think something that, obviously I left some of those ideas down there. I think, like Angela said, life at ROK, because that's their stock ticker. There's some other examples like the wine company. I think some other examples here with Aaron and Michael just showing it and trying to find ways to get different plays on your company name or whatnot, like the wedding hashtags we see all the time now when people get married. If you find someone who's really good at that to come up with the play on words or just works your content in there, like at Haley Marketing, I would think we do a lot of Team Haley. That's our culture, HALEY. There's probably not a lot of other content around that. So do some research first. Try not to make it too long or confusing. Just because
keep it short. Yeah,
we'll forget it, or it just only the people who are really invested in it will use it. You want to try to get that to start to grow organically internally, and try to be consistent with it, because it's easy to launch initiatives like this really well and get buy-in for a day, a week, a month, but then month 2, month 3, quarter 2, quarter 3, how are we going to make sure we're sticking to it?
Yeah, it's a great point. You got to be consistent with your hashtagging and use it week in and week out. The other tip I'll give is, share it with your employees, encourage them to use it across their channels as well. The more you can get your employees involved in your social media sharing, that's free advertising. You should all be doing that, or trying to do it at least, to leverage their networks in addition to your own. So that's something I see a lot of companies struggle with how to do overall, but
it's tough. We hear it all the time, but those employee ambassadors can be big because they're almost like referrals or almost like online reviews, unofficially, to where we trust the people who have the 87 people who left a review for a company or a hotel or a restaurant we've never met before, more than maybe one person we do know, or just something like, using our own research, we crowdsourced really well. So if there's employee ambassadors who connect with their timelines or their audiences and help keep you top of mind or showcase how awesome your place is to work, that's really great. And, hashtags don't help here, but it's also better than the alternative to where they're talking poorly about your company. And then when that doesn't help your employer brand as well. So if you can get them to share positively and be really great with the content, that's a great way to free way almost to increase the organic reach of your company on social.
Very cool. Any other questions from the audience? Roy Robertson, you work for a cannabis company or a cannabis job board? So hashtag celebrate cannabis. Hashtag campus careers. Marana Holding. Okay. Very cool. How's recruiting in your space? Is it easy or harder today? I'm curious.
For me or for the cannabis?
No, for the guy, for Roy. Hard, he said.
No.
Okay. Even cannabis companies are having a hard time. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess that'll do for today, everyone. Matt Lazar from Haley Marketing, haleymarketing.com. If you are a recruiting firm, great company to go and build your website, help you with marketing. What else do you do, Matt, there? Anything else?
We do a lot. Digital content. I focus on recruitment marketing.
By the way, Matt's one of the guys I follow for the audience. So he pushes out a ton of great content. That's how I got him on this show. I saw an article he wrote, and definitely should follow him as well. So he's really knowledgeable in the space.
Thanks. Appreciate it. HaleyMarketing.com and recruitmentmarketers.com is our recruitment marketing focus site.
Excellent. All right. Well, I guess that will do it. Monica says, thanks so much. If you need help hiring for retail positions, check out SASR at SASRlink.com. All right, Monica. Well, appreciate you coming. I'll put the replay up on YouTube in the next day or two. So check us out. In the meantime, have a good day, everybody. Thanks a lot, Matt.
Take care. Thanks, Chris.
All righty.